Hey everyone, my name is Hannah and I am the mom to 3 littles, and to say that this is the very first take of this video would be an understatement. I've tried to do this video like multiple times now, so bear with me. I'm not a video person, but I'm making this video about my budget binder. A lot of friends and family ask me how I budget or what I use to budget, if I use a planner, and I have shared with them resources and what I use. But for those that I can't meet with face to face or in person, or to give them what I use, I figured I would make a video to explain it. So let's dive in. Okay, so the first thing that I feel the need to share is that I do follow a lot of what Dave Ramsey teaches, and I follow and use a lot of the Budget Moms resources. She is awesome. She has a YouTube channel. She's the budget mom, but she has things for just about everybody in every walk of life. So those are two people who I do recommend following or using their resources, especially if you're kind of just kicking off budgeting. I'm willing to help people however I can, but those are two of the biggest influences in my personal budget journey. So a lot of people ask, oh my gosh, what planner do you use? I need help. I just need to be organized. I'm all about planners. I have a really awesome daily schedule planner that I use, but when it comes to my budget, I've never been able to use a budget planner. They just didn't quite work for me. So I've always made kind of my own sheets and stuff like that. So let me show you what I use. This right here, nothing fancy. My budget binder. I'm all about doing it yourself or going cheap or whatever. So this chart on the front is our one debt that we're working to pay off. It's our mortgage. And I did find this online. So I printed it off, and as we're paying it off, we're coloring it in. I do recommend that if you have any bigger debts that you want to pay off, find a fun chart or fun way to keep up with that. And I feel like it's very motivational. All right. So in this is seriously just like a very small, half-inch binder that I had laying around. So inside of the binder, I keep, when I am selling stuff on Facebook, I always track it. So I always track my Facebook sales right here. That goes under our bonus income for the month. And then any receipts, sometimes I have to split my receipts up into different categories, the way that I track things. I'll explain that in a little while. So I keep my receipts where they're easily accessible. Okay, so this first sheet is my monthly budget sheet. This was a free printable from the Budget Moms library of resources. So you go on her website and then you can get access to it. It's free. And I'm pretty sure that this is on there. I do like this, and I've used it for many months now, but I'm thinking about making my own. At the time, I just didn't have a whole lot of time. When do I ever have time? But I want to make my own to change it up a little bit. I'll kind of explain that, because it serves me well, but I feel like if I made my own, it would be a little bit better. And then this right here is my expense tracker. Now this, the Budget Mom has available. I think you do have to purchase it, and her budget planner also has something similar to this. But I really liked how she used it and did this. So I just made my own sheet on my computer. So I have this saved as Word and PDF, and it's really awesome the way that you track. And she uses this highlight method, and I will explain that to you guys shortly. So this is what's in here, and the only extra thing that I have is for birthday parties or different parties or events that we are hosting. I always make a separate sheet. This is, you can tell it's been used and messed with, but our boys just had a birthday in September. And basically I write out how much is budgeted for that event at the top. I go ahead and write down what we already have that we don't have to spend money on. Then I write all of our needs over here. I put an estimated total of what I think we will spend on those things. And then as I actually buy them, I write in how much we did spend. So that way I'm keeping a really close track of, did we spend more? Are we spending less? That kind of thing. So that's just an overall look at what's in here. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to share before I dive into the specific sheets that are in my budget binder is that for our budget, I always underestimate our income. So basically, when my husband gets a raise, I don't immediately up our income from his job. So on my sheet where it says income source number 1, I do not write in, okay, if he makes the max amount each week of the month, this is how much we're going to spend, or I mean, bring in, excuse me. So I write in according to some previous paychecks, some of his lower end paychecks. Why do I do that? That's because I don't want to think that we have a ton more money, and then if he has to take a day off that's not paid, or if he leaves work early for some kind of an emergency, we're not left stranded at the end of the month thinking like every hour was accounted for and he left a couple hours early, so now we're in the red. I don't want to do that. So I always underestimate our income, but then I overestimate on some of our bills. So I try to track our spending for a month or two. When I very first started, I tracked our spending on certain areas, certain categories. And then when I saw what we were spending, I would round it up. And usually I round it up. Kind of depends on what it is. But I usually round up by like $10 or $15 on most things. Certain bills are more set. We have a lot of our utilities, they are like on the level billing, so I know kind of what to anticipate, and then I keep that the same each month. So I'm going to dive into the monthly budget sheet, but I wanted to explain that ahead of time. Okay guys, so we're going to just jump right in. This is the monthly budget sheet that I'm going to be talking about. I am going to bring up a picture of it so you can kind of see better as I'm talking about it. But I did want to point out that outside of my income sources, I don't know if you can see it very well, but in pencil, I write an estimate of what we think we're going to bring in. And then each payday, as I write it on my tracker, I also write in pencil right here what we have brought in so far. And so then I erase it and I obviously add the other paychecks as they come in. So I just wanted to mention that while you're looking at it. And now I'll go to the picture as I'm talking. So that first part is the income. So we have 2 income sources. If you only have one, then you only have one. The bonus income is from Facebook sales, or if for some reason we do a small order-in job for somebody that they give us money for, that would be bonus income, but we do not include the bonus income in our overall budget for the month because obviously we never know when that's going to happen. So then you write in your total of what you expect to bring in. Then below is your fixed expenses. So these are going to be your utilities, your house note, or your rent, just depending on what your situation is. Ours is any insurances that we're paying for, car insurance, internet, phone bill, our tithe. Our tithe is under our fixed expenses because that is not negotiable in our household. That's another personal preference that we believe in. And then my gym membership. So those are our fixed expenses, and then I total it out. Then I see how much money do we have left. So I subtract that total from our estimate of income, and then I say, okay, so I have this much left over that I need to allocate for other things. Under variable expenses, the top 2 that are always the same, that could be under fixed expenses, but ran out of line, so they go under variable because they can change every now and then, is grocery and gasoline. So gas for our vehicles. So I put those in, then I subtract it again, and I see how much money am I still working with. Still have some money to work with? Okay, so I've got other variable expenses. 3 other ones that are a pretty standard around here for us is family time, date nights, and Striker, which is our dog. So I write in those and those amounts, those budgeted amounts. Then I guess, yeah, I'm sure you could guess, subtract it from our total income. And then what's left, we allocate. We do have savings. I did not mention savings, so let's talk about savings for just a second before I finish our variable expenses. We have our own savings account, like our overall savings, which also is like our emergency fund, and our savings is there. And then we have 3 savings accounts for our kids that we put money into each month. Those are non-negotiable. Those always go out of that total. So once that's subtracted and we have the leftover money, we look at it and we say, okay, what's coming up this month that we may need to spend money on outside of our typical grocery bill, outside of date nights or family time. Family time is when we go out to eat as a family on the weekend. So if we go grab 4 for $4s from Wendy's, that's where that money comes from. If we decide that we want to take the kids to, for instance, like a pumpkin patch, like right now it's October. So a lot of people are going to a local farm for like the pumpkin patch and different stuff like that. If we did that, we would know that it's coming out of our family time category. So it's anything outside of those things that I would want to write in. So I usually give myself and my husband spending money. Spending money for the entire month for myself and for my husband is usually only $20 to $30 because date nights is when we go out to eat, or that family time. And then if we just need, like, if I'm here with the kids and I'm like, you know what, I want to go get a Starbucks, or I need, you know, a shirt or something, that's where my spending money is. So I know I have that limit and I'm not tempted to just go and spend or blow money. And he takes his lunches. He always takes lunch. He randomly will get a small lunch from McDonald's or Subway. And sometimes he just grabs a snack from like the gas station near his work. So that's what that comes from. I don't want y'all thinking like y'all don't spend any money, but that just helps us to not overspend. So for instance, this is the month of October. So the other items under my variable expenses this month are, my mom has a birthday, so we're me and my sister are doing lunch for her, so I have money set aside to buy the things for that lunch. Halloween is coming up, so I have money set aside for our costumes and for candy for trick-or-treaters. One of our vehicles needs an oil change, so that's under our variable expenses this month, and we're getting family pictures taken, so I have money set aside for that. The bottom left is debt, and we currently do not have debt outside of our mortgage. So that debt is basically empty for us, but I use it for other variable expenses or to track other spending that may occur that wasn't written down at the beginning of the month. So this month I did run out of variable expense lines, so I wrote for my mom group that I'm attending. We do breakfast and you sign up. So one of the 2 meetings that we have, I plan on to like bring in something. So I went ahead and budgeted on that line. So if you do have debts, if you have student loans, if you have credit cards, that's where your debts are going to be written in, and how much your minimum payment is or how much money you're able to throw at it, that's where that's going to go. So then once you have you've allocated everything, your bottom lines where it says total income minus total expenses, I always write that in pencil. So then you can go back and write it in pen at the end of the month. You should subtract your expenses from your income, and you should either be at 0 if you're doing a zero-based budget. That means all of your money is allocated, or you should have a little left over. Some people don't believe in having any money left over. I like to have just a little bit left over because we all have unexpected small things that come up that we don't want to have to pull from our emergency fund for. So that is the monthly budget sheet. All right, guys, so the next sheet that I'm going to talk about is the expense tracker that I said I have created. So basically, I'll go ahead and show you. I'm showing you September's because it's been filled out, and you can kind of see that up here, up top, I have different colored categories for like what I highlight, and I wanted you to be able to kind of see what that's going to look like. Also, if I go somewhere that is like a grocery trip, or if I go to Walmart and I'm getting groceries, but I also bought something for a birthday gift, and I also bought, you know, something that should be allocated to a different category, I use sticky notes over here and I break it down so I specifically know where I spent money and which category it needs to be tracked in. So basically, I'm going to show you now a picture of this sheet so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So you've got the date, account. So basically, if you have multiple accounts that your money comes out of, I do not, but some people have multiple accounts or different cards for different banks and stuff like that. That's what that is there for, in case you need it. Transaction. So transaction would be where you shopped or what bill you're paying. So I would put Walmart. And then under category, under this one I'm looking at, it was for my boy's birthday. So part of their decorations or birthday gift, I put category boys B-Day. And then it's under withdrawal, obviously, because it wasn't a deposit. So I write that in. And then Once I come home and that is written down, over onto my monthly budget sheet, I would go and write under my boy's birthday category, that's under variable expenses, next to budgeted and under spent, I would write in pencil, okay, I spent $14.92. Once I write that on my monthly budget sheet and it has been accounted for on that main sheet to know what I have spent of our money, I come over here and I highlight through that line. So my boy's B-Day line is blue. So I knew for my boy's birthday, anything that I spent on that would be highlighted with blue. So I highlight through it so I know that it is accounted for on my main monthly budget sheet. So there are a few different ways you can do this. A few people that I have helped say, I have to do this every time I spend the money. Like, I want to go ahead and highlight it. I want to go ahead and put it on the main monthly budget sheet so I know exactly where my money is at all the time. Like, I don't want a chance not writing it down. And I totally get that. I have gotten to where I'm doing that as well. That way I know that I'm not overlooking any small spending, because right now it's the season of gift giving. We have birthdays all throughout August, September, October, November, December, literally, as well as all the holidays that are happening. So as I'm spending that money, I try to write it down on my monthly budget sheet, and then I highlight through it on my trackers so I know what I have spent and I'm keeping up with it. Now, other people wait till the very end of the month. They want to wait to see at the end and they highlight through that way so they can close it all out and know what they spent where. There's nothing wrong with that either. I've done it both ways. I think it just depends on you, what works best for you, and what season you're in. So you do whatever is best for you. You don't even have to do it like this, but I do like the highlighting method so you can just see like what you're spending where. This sheet particularly, some of this isn't highlighted. Our income, I don't highlight our income. I keep it blank so I know, okay, that was something that we brought in. And then there's a few things for the month of September, just because we have so many birthdays and so many variable expenses for September. I didn't have a highlighter for every single thing. So that's why some of this is blank and it's not as colorful. But I really love this method on tracking what you're spending, and it holds you more accountable too. So you don't want to go spend if you have these lines that you're having to fill out and then you're highlighting through them. Okay guys, so after talking about the expense tracker, I wanted to hop back over to the monthly budget sheet to kind of explain what I was talking about, just in case there's any confusion, mainly in this variable expenses. My husband and I are basically an open book about our finances, mainly because we just want to help people. We are not gloating. We are not rich by any means, but we do try to really take care of what we have. So I don't mind showing you. So under our variable expenses here, basically what I was saying is I always write budgeted in pen, except for these other variable expenses. Sometimes I write them in pencil until I'm sure, and it's still like the first week of the month. But basically, so I know that I have $500 allocated for groceries this month. Well, I just shopped, and it's for basically the first week and a half of October. But I also spent a lot on household items, which fall under our groceries. We don't split up household and groceries. I lump them all together. So I had to buy quite a few, like a few medicines, some laundry detergent, stuff like that. So I wrote in that I spent $187.45 in pencil. That's what we've spent on groceries so far. So if I went and we realized that I didn't buy something and we needed it for like a meal, and I ran up to Aldi or to Kroger and I bought it, I would go buy it, I would come home, I would write it on my expense tracker on here, okay, and then I would erase this that I had spent so far and I would add to it. So if I spent like $2 more, it'd be $189.45, and I would just keep a running spent total so I know how much of our budget is left for the month. Okay, some people leave this blank until the end and then they write it in and they're like, okay, cool. I want to know constantly how much money is left in my allocated expense like categories. So that is what I meant by keeping like a running total. I keep running totals on our variable expenses and our income. I write it in as we bring it in, and then I update it as it comes in, just so we know where we're at. Okay guys, so the final thing on my budget binder that I figured I would share, because I figured people may ask, I'm really not sure if anybody cares, but here's my basket, my lovely basket of all my colorful pens. So as you could see on my monthly budget sheet, I do like to categorize in colorful pens. That's really just for fun, okay? But I keep all my colorful pens here together, my pencil, and then these are the highlighters that I use. These are mini highlighters. They came from Target. I'm not sure if you can get them anywhere else. They're the Yoobi, it's Yoobi brand. And this, I wanna say it's 10 different colors. Yeah, so it has quite a few different colors, so that helps me to be able to have highlighters for different categories. But anyway, let me know if this helped you out, and comment. I would say comment on the YouTube video, but I'm not really great at YouTube, but I am on Facebook, Hannah Fox, and I am also on Instagram. So I will write those in on the screen below, and let me know if this was helpful. If there's anything else that I can help you with, let me know.